Have you ever played the game telephone? One person thinks of a phrase and whispers it to the person on their right. They pass it to the person on their right, and it comes around in a circle until the last person has to speak the phrase aloud. Sometimes the phrase still sounds similar. Other times it changes completely. A phrase like, "Who let the dogs out?" suddenly becomes, "What did your mom shout?" I like to think of the brain-body connection like one big game of telephone, passing messages back and forth. Normally, your body and brain are great communicators with one another. For example, if your body's dehydrated, it can signal to the brain, "I want a glass of water." However, some diseases muddy these messages. That "I want a glass of water" could suddenly become, "My aunt said pass the otter." I study Alzheimer's disease, which is a brain disease that in older age kills off cells in the brain that are important for the storage of memories. We don't currently understand why some people get Alzheimer's and other people don't. We also don't have a cure for the disease. This is an urgent problem because 1 in 10 adults over the age of 65 will develop Alzheimer's. This problem is complicated by the idea that patients with Alzheimer's can't just donate a chunk of their brain for us to look at what's going wrong. Instead, we need to use biomarkers in the body to understand what is causing the development of Alzheimer's. My goal is to use the brain and body communication in order to identify who will develop Alzheimer's. To do this, I study how your genes, or the body's instructions in the DNA, change the body's communication. There's a gene that 25% of the population carries that increases your risk by 10-fold. My big question is how this risk gene changes signaling in the brain and body to create an Alzheimer's-prone environment. To study this, I measure body markers like weight and body fat, as well as proteins and sugars in the blood. In the brain, I measure cytokines, which are little signaling messengers secreted by immune cells in the brain to talk with one another. When we use mathematical modeling to understand the relationships between the body's function and the brain's signaling, we see that the risk gene diminishes the brain's ability to signal for neuronal survival and protection. At the same time, that risk gene changes the metabolism in the body, and this change occurs in a relationship that's measurable. This means that we can use the easy body measurements to monitor the signaling changes in the brain that are creating that Alzheimer's-prone environment. This way, when we grow old and our bodies and brains play telephone, we hope to be able to signal, create those great memories instead of, "Where did I put my keys?"